All right. Well, welcome back to A Dragon of Icespire Peak. Just as a quick recap, last session you all made it back to Fandalen after a brief excursion to the Dwarven excavation to visit some family. Made it back, had some dreams and some emotions, and woke up to a dragon that promptly got punched and left.
Punch.
And the town master, Mr. Harbin Wester, bade you do a quest for him to receive double the reward for defending the village from a dragon. So we'll pick up with Barthen speaking to you about your trip. Um, so we're just gonna do a quick rehash of that whole conversation in which
Okay.
Barthen um, introduces you to Vincent, the bull or ox that is toting a cart with two crates of supplies that'll last about a month for 12 individuals. The cart itself is all wood. It only has two wheels, however, so you'll be walking along next to the cart. And Barthen tells you that he would like to see the cart and ox returned in one piece. He also makes mention of. Let's see if shit saved. Oh, it did.
I don't know, Barthen. I mean, getting that thing back in one piece. Who knows?
Thorn is already disappointed by this.
Can you all see the map?
Yes.
Yarp.
Phenomenal. Barthen suggests that you all buy a bottle of wine for 10 gold and deliver it to Falcon's Hunting Lodge to the northeast of Fandalen. It should be marked on your map.
Mhm.
Stating that while not quite a halfway point, it would do well if you could reach there, following the Tribor Trail northeast to either Coneyberry or directly to Falcon's Hunting Lodge. It's going to take a minimum of 2 days of travel to get to the loggers' camp, and Falcon's Hunting Lodge will put you relatively close to arrive about mid-morning on your second day. Alternatively, if you choose, you can go straight north, entering Neverwinter's Wood on the southern edge down here, or trailing alongside the western edge of it, and following the river to the loggers' camp. So, after stating all of that, he leaves you to your choice.
My question is, why do we need to get this dude at the hunting lodge a bottle of wine?
It's more of a suggestion. He's well, an interesting individual, and I feel that he might appreciate that, and it might endear you to him. And he might provide you some lodging, either free of charge or at a cheaper rate. Either way, Falcon happens to be an old friend, and while I'd love to just give you all a bottle of wine for him, I got a business to run around here in the ass end of the country, so.
Does he know the local area well, Barthen in the woods?
Falcon is. He runs a business of escorting the locals through Neverwinter Wood. So, yes, he knows the area very well. He's also a very sure shot with that bow of his. That's how he earned his name. Um, he's also, I hear, despite the warnings, been taking on a lot of orcs. He's got a bunch of new trophies in that dining hall of his. But
Might not hurt to go. Would give us maybe someone who could tell us a little bit more about the woods so we didn't get lost. It's not like it's going to deviate our trail too much.
Thorn thinks it'll be fine.
What was the total duration you said for the trip if we went east and then in was about 2 days to get to the lodge?
either way will wind up being about
About the same.
about the same. The reason being is that if you go straight north, you're traveling less distance, but if you go northeast and then cut west, you have less wood to actually cut through. You'll be basically hitting Coneyberry and then traveling straight to Falcon's Lodge for a much shorter duration of in-wood travel, and then following the river west. So you won't be navigating the woods.
How much does Reginald want to rough it on his own? Is probably the thought I feel.
Well, if I had to guess, I would say that the road is probably the best route for us. With a cardinal, it will be the most direct and less volatile, I'd say. The least amount of time we spend slobbing through the woods is probably best.
Thorn squints at Reginald from like over the edge of the cart because she's been all up in that cart, like digging around and stuff. She just kind of like peers over the edge. Why are you so afraid of the woods? Why are you so afraid to get dirty?
Well, it's not so much that I'm afraid of either thing. It's just, given the choice between not being dirty or in the woods and being dirty and in the woods, I choose the not category.
But the woods are fun.
Well, perhaps for you, I would say that there are certainly things within the woods I may find to be entertaining. However, most of them I do not.
She just like collapses onto her back in the cart, like just completely like exasperated. Okay, we take the boring way.
Well, it sounds like you all are agreed. I think Lionel's the only one who hasn't weighed in.
Lionel doesn't have an opinion on this matter. He is not a woodsman, but he also does not mind getting dirty. He is just exhausted. He just wants to get this underway.
That's true. You are pretty tired.
Yeah. I'm just thinking also that, a nice bed at least partway through this journey is probably not a bad thing.
Thorn can make beds.
Big beds or you-size beds, Thorn?
Both. Just takes more materials.
Well, at least we know that you can do that. That's good. How
Well-
much is your wine going to cost us?
10 gold.
Oh, that's right.
While you all were
Mm.
chit-chatting, he has actually come back out with a bottle of Neverwinter's finest. Been saving this for Falcon for a while. It cost me 50, but I'll part with it for 10 for Falcon.
Thorn will reach into her bag and she will pay the 10 gold.
That was
Phenomenal. Yes, give me your money. Give me your money.
Thorn, I imagine Thorn has very little, actual personal experience with bartering. I feel like she probably leaves most of that to the rest of her tribe. So 10 gold for a bottle of wine doesn't sound like anything to her. It doesn't sound good or bad. It just sounds like it is what it is.
Well, he Barthen takes your coin and wraps the bottle in some cloth and places it among the provisions for you, and wishes you all a safe journey. And just as a reminder, if y'all need some camping gear for roughing it out there, I sell that too.
I'm
I can't
good, thank
remember.
you.
I can't remember if we had gone over whether or not Reginald had camping gear or not, or if it was
We
just like
did.
You
'cause I feel.
have no tent. You only
All right.
have sleeping apparatus.
All right. I think he'd probably want to have a tent then if he knows he's going to be sleeping outside. So, yes. There. Well, sir, given that we are about to be in the wild for a bit, I would like to procure a tent.
Um, Barthen nods and whistles. Uh, Anders comes running up. Yes, sir, Barthen. Get this man a tent and hurry up. They're on their way. Anders hauls ass off, and Barthen holds out his hand. That'd be 2 gold there.
Yes, well, here you are. And he will gladly pay the man his 2 gold. Money well spent.
You now have a tent for 2 people.
I believe you mean a tent for one with a room.
Yeah, a tent for myself and my things.
Called it.
2 people.
Anders comes out and he's got a nice, tightly packaged tent for you. It has purple canvas. It's a light purple, and passes it along to you. There you go, sir. Are you all interested in anything else, or shall we get underway?
We
Let's
shall
go.
go. We have a day of walking, and I feel tired.
Phenomenal. So, you accompany the ox um, north and then northeast. Are you all going straight to Falcon's Hunting Lodge, following the Tribord Trail about halfway, or are you all going to Coneyberry and then cutting west? It doesn't really matter. I'd just like to know.
Mm. It's about the same distance to the woods, it looks like, so.
Narratively speaking, you will make it to either the Falcon's Hunting Lodge in one day or the halfway point in one day. So, and since you've already decided that you're going to the Falcon's Hunting Lodge, narratively, that's where you're going to end up by the end of this day.
Yeah. That sounds good. So, yeah.
Fair enough.
Straight there it is. Oh
Yep.
boy. That one. Phenomenal. Well, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
As you all travel, uh, Thorn, with your slightly more keen sense of smell, you get a whiff of iron on the wind. Immediately sets your hairs on edge. Scales? Whatever. Um, And as you travel a little bit further on, there is some smoke coming up. On the side of the road, you see the remains of a battle. There are some burnt boxes, a wagon that's been completely obliterated. Looks like it was blown up by maybe a fireball or some kind of explosive. Uh, and standing amongst a bunch of orcish bodies are two figures clothed entirely in black leather with hoods drawn. Do you all continue your approach, or would you all like to veer away?
Thorn alerts her party members to what's going on and just kind of like, as soon as she smells the iron on the air and finally sees them, I think she just kind of turns around. There's people up there. They don't smell very good. Bad smell.
I mean, there's two of them, but I don't want trouble, but I don't want to kill how much more time we have to take either.
Is it obvious that like they're the ones that caused this? Or are they just kind of like standing off and observing?
Well, since you asked, uh, one of them has a bow drawn with an arrow nocked, and is kind of just standing off to the side observing, while the other one is dragging several bodies and piling them on top of each other. You realize that as you're watching this, uh, he's creating a second burn pile. The original smokestack that you saw came from a burn pile a little bit further off into the fields to the east that you suspect is where the actual iron smell came from. It's a pyre of bodies.
People who commit murders usually don't burn the bodies afterwards. Not like that, anyway.
We should probably see then. If anything.
Yes, well, I concur, but let's just be on guard, shall we?
Don't worry, Thorn will protect you.
Okay.
And she reaches over and pats him.
Well, as you approach, um, the elf with the bow, or I'm sorry, the figure with the bow, now that you know that it's an elf, uh, sort of steps into the road to uh, not in your way, but definitely closer, as if looking at you. And you hear a low whistle before the other one drops what they're doing to turn and stare. And now that you're closer, you see uh, that the black leather is kind of emblazoned with silver linings. The studs are well, they gleam even in broad daylight. Like you can tell that there's metal there, that the armor that they're wearing is extremely high quality. But what catches your eye, Reginald, is that symbol for the Knight's Fangs, emblazoned on the right shoulder of both of them. As you grow closer, the bigger of the two, you recognize him as a male, withdraws his hood, and you see the pointed ears denoting him as an elf. He has silver hair that about shoulder length before his hood eats the rest of it. And he hails you. Well, if it isn't the prodigal son.
Oh, is that your dad?
No, this is not my father. No. These are some of the Night Fangs, noted by that symbology over there on their shoulders, but they are. I didn't really want to call them mercenaries, but they are a order of sorts that is tasked with various odds and ends missions to be dealt with, sometimes publicly, sometimes not so publicly. I have to wonder why we find them out here, on the middle of the road, in our travels.
The elf kind of beats his chest. He says, Ravis Fellwind of the Knight's Fangs, sire. He nods his head down to you. The Knight's Fangs in the area, they're tasked with, keeping the roads safe as best we can. So, dealing with degenerates and, any that might be swayed by the dragon is our current assignment.
Ah, I see. Well, I venture that we should not hold you from your duties then, but is there anything that we should be aware of on the road ahead?
Ravis nods his head and says, On the road ahead, you'll probably encounter a few more bodies. We apologize for the mess we're trying to clean up. There was a huge I don't know what's causing them to gather like this, but a gathering of orcs. Uh, they were either fleeing something or congregating to something. Uh, we found several casks, chests with the Fortno crest on them. So we're claiming those and just trying to keep the roads safe. Coneyberry missed the bulk of it. We saved everybody there that we could. There are orcs going into Neverwinter Wood, though. So if you head that way or are heading in that direction, take ye care.
Well, that is good information. Thank you. We unfortunately do have to head that ways a bit, and we're headed into the woods. So we will be on the lookout.
Thorn, I need you to make me a perception check.
Nope. Getting the
Very
stat
well.
rolls out now.
It was a good try.
Well, Ravis kind of beats his chest again and says,
Can I use my inspiration die for this?
Yes.
Okay, I'll do that. Better not be another nat one. Well, that's not a nat one, but it's still fucking terrible.
This is one of those narrative moments as a DM that I just want to be like, well, you see it anyway. You do notice that there's something familiar about the area around you, or rather the bodies, but you can't place it. And that's where I'm going to leave that at.
Mm-hmm.
Reginald, where is that bracelet that you have?
It's you're talking about the one that has the night fang crust. It's in my bag, my sack, whatever you want to call it, on my back.
Well, uh, very well. Lionel, what are you doing?
I'm staying out of this question, still perplexed by the fact that Reginald was addressed as sire. I realize that he is like someone from a high-ranking family. I didn't realize apparently he was like the heir to Comte in regards to this.
How much Reginald wishes to give to you about his backstory, I will leave between you two.
Oh, don't worry. Lionel's going to ask once we're out of earshot conversation in some way. But it's one of those things where right now he is just quiet because one, he doesn't want to really deal with anything because he's still exhausted. But two, he picks up on that and he kind of like mouths the word to himself of sire. The fuck,
Nani the fuck?
Nani?
Reginald, please give me a perception check. Since you're out and about looking around.
Roll better than a 5.
Perception.
Don't
Are you
ask
serious?
shit.
All right, look, I've done the most I can here.
Yeah, apparently I have too. I mean,
Jesus.
Well, hey, Lionel hasn't rolled a perception check yet.
No,
You know
no,
what?
you
At
don't
this
want him
point-
to.
At this point, Lionel, roll it.
Okay, cool. We're
Get
gonna
that
see
20,
how this
please.
goes.
Make up for all of this. It's happening.
No. I can already tell you what's going to happen. It's going to be poop.
Oh, that's
Wanna
right,
know
because
why
you have
it's gonna be poop?
exhaustion too, right?
Yeah, so I have to do
It's-
disadvantage.
It's still better. It's still better than what we got.
Why do I get the best one out of you two? Why?
I couldn't tell you.
11. Or no, it's 12. I can't.
Yeah, 12.
12.
The -1 is already applied.
Yeah.
Him tap tapping real hard.
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh, tippy tappy. Okay.
Well,
Ooh, more tap taps.
Okay.
after moments of silence, Ravis kind of looks back to his compatriot and nods as if there was some kind of invisible communication there and says, "Well, my lord, if you've nothing else, we won't keep you. We've got a lot of work ahead of us." Um, to put it in perspective for you all, there are 2 standing bodies around you and probably close to 24 prone bodies. So,
Yep. Message loud and clear.
so what's the plan? Are we moving forward or are
We are
we
moving forward.
okay?
Yes, the one with all the answers is telling us we're moving on. So
Well, go ahead.
I was gonna say once we're out of earshot of them, so like probably like 10, 15 minutes down the road. I want to there are like 3 things that immediately come to my mind. I'm going to look at Reginald first. Sire, are you like the next in line for the household or something?
I try not to speak of it, but yes, I am the current heir to the company name, the house, and all of its lands and titles.
Okay, I'm going to assume because you don't make a lot of it, you don't care much for the fancy hoo-ha, so I'm just going to continue on as normal.
Yes, the let's call it pomp, for lack of a better term, is not my favorite thing to experience or manage. I'm much easier given my own spaces and, less attention, but I will, of course, have to inherit it one day, so I suppose I need to work on dealing with it a little better. But, yes, for now, let's simply keep things as they were.
Good, that makes these next 2 points a lot easier. One, how well do you know that man that we actually encountered? You said they were a part of the Knights Fang, which I get mercenary work, and considering it seems like they were both responsible for all those dead bodies, probably not someone we want to fuck with, right?
Yeah, I would assume that that would be very bad for us, yes. At the same time, I never really ask too many questions into their ongoings, simply because while I may be curious to know, there's also some level of deniable plausibility. If I don't know what they were up to, no
You
one is
can't be
able
blamed
to
for it in some
blame
way.
me for it.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, these particular ongoings, obviously, I'm not in control of. My father is. However, by proxy, I carry the name and such.
It's a way to keep
let's
you so
not be
you're not
caught.
liable. Yes,
Yes,
I
yes.
understand. It's a way to keep your hands clean so that your father has a nice squeaky air to pass things off to if he fucks up.
Yes, and,
Okay.
and, and why would you want to be so wrapped up in all of their minutia? It's very I don't really want to say beneath me, but it's very brutish at times.
Because of the next question I'm about to ask, Thorn, when we met your family the other day, did they mention anything to you? Because I can't recall about sending scouts out at all or something further up north here where we are.
No scouts, but uh, some of our people are out this way.
That's why. Among the many bodies of orcs, I did happen to notice two lizard folk, and I was not sure if they were a part of your family or something else. And given the circumstances, I did not want to cause a riot there and to possibly set things off, which is why asking now. Because we are far enough away where someone can yell and we can't make rash decisions easily.
All you hear is the of claws on wood as she is like sliding down the side of the cart and just walking back along the path that they just came from.
Going to walk in front of her. Did you not just hear what Reginald said? Or the fact that, they probably murdered about 16 people?
I walk under his legs.
Well, this
don't
one's
have-
on you entirely. I'm. You'd probably should stop her, but if we have to go back, I mean, well,
Thorn, what are you going to do if you're there?
Thorn needs to check.
And what happens when you find the answer?
Thorn will bite or Thorn will not bite.
Thorn is not going to bite in any circumstance. As I kind of walk up beside her. Look, I get it. I understand if this turns out the way it is, but you cannot simply go off and bite them when they killed that many people without breaking so much as a sweat.
Wanna bet?
Yes, because you will be dead! Look at me. I know a fool's gamble. Trust me on this. That is a fool's gamble.
Thorn is not a fool, but family is important.
Family is important, but throwing your life away for dead family is not as important as keeping the ones alive still alive.
She's just like squinting at you. Just continues to walk. Thorn will check, Thorn will not bite.
At least there's that.
You just hear her muttering under her breath, and Thorn's gonna bite you. Stupid skunk man. Tell Thorn what to do.
I am not a skunk man. We have been over this multiple times. Hyena.
So it sounds like y'all are headed back.
Yes, I will be following her back to make sure she is good on her word of no bite.
You had to say something. You know, we were on our way. We were leaving. You had to say something.
Family is very important to Lionel, so he gets this, but he also understands when something is a bad choice, having made plenty of them on his own.
Not lizard folks are not very smart. So, I mean, Thorn may or may not pick a fight. I don't know. I think Thorn actually has like a negative... I don't think she has negative intelligence, but it's not very good.
I have negative wisdom, so.
Which is insane to me, but
The way that I picture it is I make bets and gambles on things, and I sometimes win and sometimes I lose, and I lose very badly.
Well,
I'll be the judge of that.
I'm smart enough to know how to play the game of gambling, not always wise enough to know when I shouldn't take a bet.
Well, go ahead.
Yes, Thorn will either walk the 10-15 minutes back, or if Reginald decides to turn the cart around, she will continue, going back towards where the bodies were burned.
all right. Well, clearly we are not continuing onward as a group, so let's continue backwards as a group.
It's not going to take very long. He told me not to bite.
Yes, no biting, no trying to impale, no scratching, no trying to murder them, no trying to maim them, no breaking their bones.
You just hear him mutter, "No, you didn't say I couldn't eat them."
It's the same as biting, it's more violent.
You could eat something without biting it. Thorn
You
does
do
it all the
not
time.
have the specialized jaws to unhinge to swallow them whole, Thorn.
That remains to be seen.
You are not a snake.
You don't know that.
You are not a snake.
Yes, we head back.
You arrive back as the pair are finishing throwing bodies on top of each other and about to start burning them. There is a pile of goods next to the group as well as two coffers. On the side furthest away from the road, Thorn, you immediately recognize the scales of a lizard folk.
Do I recognize particulars, or is it just like, oh, this is like the general color scheme of my tribe?
In order to denote that, you will have to tell them to stop before they start burning the body, so that way you can get there in time. You are basically seeing a scaled arm, not an orcish arm right now.
Reginald, you should probably tell them to stop before I do have to bite them.
Gentlemen, if you may, a moment. We'd like to inspect some of the bodies.
Uh, Welcome back, and if you must, we've taken anything of interest off of them and set it aside. But feel free. You looking for someone in particular?
Someone in particular, not particularly, no, but potentially to see if we can identify any of the bodies. Yes, mostly to just kind of do a quick check. This one here, as he points to Thorn, well, she wants to be sure that no one she knows was among the dead.
Uh, Make me an insight check. Nice. As you motion towards Thorn, you see the still hooded, unknown to you individual sort of grip their bow a little bit tighter, and both of their stances become a little bit more rigid. But it quickly passes as if they are deliberately trying to hide their own perspective on things. Uh, if you must, go right ahead, sir.
All right. Well, Thorn, go ahead. Let's see if any of these individuals are recognizable to you.
Thorn lets out a little huff of air, just like through her nostrils, and like gets off the cart, and she will go and examine any bodies that she can possibly determine the identity of that haven't already been burnt.
As you round this mound of bodies, um, you experience a couple different things. The first being the stench of uh, blood and shit. Um, it's a little bit nauseating. The sheer amount of flesh in front of you is not something you're overly used to. You are used to combat, but you are not used to it being so visceral. Uh, Most of these orcs, you can tell, were felled by one blow. But what really gets you is the visceral nature of these cuts. None of them are impaled, they are all gaffed, if you take my meaning. So entrails are hanging out, and that is the same for the two lizard folk on the opposite side. One has orangish brown scales that are mottled with blood at this point. Um, you recognize them. Not really family, but definitely a part of the tribe. Known for their descent towards, towards the way things have been running, their descent towards Samwanya. They were definitely naysayers of the gods in general. Having been with lizard folk for as long as you have, you know that there are other lizard folk out there who bend to dragon wills, um, or even to other brute wills. But still, this was somebody that you called friend. Uh, their face is, well, it's not a face anymore. It's been split open. It's just a hole with viscera. The other one, though, is from a tribe you recognize, tribe that you warred with. You've killed lizard folk from the other tribe. And it hurts you even still because Yubaba is always not necessarily preaching peace, But between Yubaba and your parents, you vie for the more peaceful things in life and peaceful alternatives. Survival is a lot easier when you are together. But seeing these two lizard folk together, even though one of them you called friend, may spark a few different emotions inside of you.
I think for Thorn, it's primarily and immediately a sense of, okay, it's not mom and dad. And then a little spark of, not that these, tiny people could kill dad, you know? But then it's a sense of, these are my people and they were slaughtered. Now, were these people that were running from something, you said? Like, they seemed like they were running to something or from something?
Ravis had told you all that it seemed like the orcs were gathering. They could not tell from where or to where they were going, just that it seemed to be a lot of them at one span of time. All of these bodies came from one band, and there's easily 2 dozen.
Okay. I think after inspecting the bodies, Thorn starts to head back towards the cart. And she kind of pauses, and she'll turn around and she'll slowly take off her shield, and she'll point at the bottom of the walk to where the symbol of her tribe is. There's going to be a lot of lizard folk with this symbol. They're going to be around here. They're going down to the mirror. These people are not bad people. Lizard folk are not bad people.
I take it you're speaking to Ravis.
I'm speaking to both of them. Whoever's closest.
As you turn to face them, they both have gripped their weapons with renewed intensity, having seen that you recognize them. And they're almost staring you down. Reginald and Lionel, you recognize that they're on edge. Ravis speaks to you. He says, "Our oath demands that we protect the common people. Our orders are to kill anyone and anything susceptible to draconic influence. Now, I apologize if this was family, but you must understand where we come from. There is more than your family here. And even if I wanted to save your family, my duty to my people comes first, just as yours to your own. If I see lizard folk and they are not your lizard folk are not safe if they come across us. So maybe you should warn them of us. Hell, you aren't safe with them." The elf sort of cringes a little bit as if in physical pain. And the hooded elf kind of grabs his shoulder. He shakes his head, shaking it off. "Be on your way."
Thorn really wants to bite.
Thorn probably shouldn't. I think Lionel's gonna step by Thorn and just kind of look down at her, and if she meets his gaze, he's just gonna shake his head slightly to say, "This is not worth it." And he's just going to look at them and I think say, "We will be on our way. But All people can't come under the influence of a dragon. I hope you remember that. You or I are not special.
Like you to roll me an insight and a persuasion check, please.
Okay.
Reginald, if you would also please roll me an insight check.
All right. My insight is a 4. And then I am going. Oh, I don't have inspiration. Darn. Thought I did.
You should.
You should.
Thought
We
we
all
all
got
did.
inspiration
You
last
all
session.
got inspiration.
Yeah, I
So-
wasn't ticked off. Okay, but weird. In that case, then I will use my inspiration on my persuasion, just so that it is a flat roll.
Very well.
Nat roll, and that's one.
No, I got an
It's
11.
not terrible though.
No, it's even. It's what I want. I want it to at least be flatlined.
So, Reginald, I'm going to start with you and your insight check because this is kind of important. You notice that these two individuals are not just acting aggressive or defensive towards Thorn. It is your entire group that they distinctly see as a threat. And the only thing that you suspect is stopping them is whatever magical pain just inflicted itself upon upon Ringus. As for the persuasion, I'll mind you to mind your own. There are certain you already know. There are certain people, certain races that are more susceptible to a dragon than us, than the civilized. Be on your way. I won't say it again.
I will then start to move with Thorn and kind of, I guess I want to say gently usher so that we both move on, because it's clear that we are not going to make any headway on this argument. And as I have said, there are some bets Lionel knows it is best not to take on. This is now one of them. He has learned slightly.
Thorn will acquiesce, but she's not happy about it.
She doesn't have to be happy. Just want her to still be alive.
I think that I think that like if Lionel nudges her or anything, he can't hear it, but she's definitely growling. Like it's just like her entire body is vibrating. It is just super quiet, but it is a very deep growl, and her eyes have just like narrowed to slits. Like she is so fucking angry. But she will not bite. She will not bite them. She will not bite Lionel, even though she wants to bite Lionel.
If she bit me, that would be a much preferable choice, possibly, but it still might set them off.
She will acquiesce, and she will go back to the cart, and does not take her eyes off of them, even as they're like pulling back off.
Yeah, and I think I would gently nudge her if I need to, but I think for the most part, I would just kind of like start to move and kind of keep my eye on her, as if to say, "Let's go. This is not worth it."
Reginald, you have a brief moment alone with them before you two turn. Would you like to say anything to them? Ask them anything?
I kind of feel like their orders and their initiative to murder everything that they see as being susceptible is maybe pressured more by the dragon's influence that may be causing them some pain. So that seems to be how I think that's manifesting, maybe. So
Roll me an insight check. Let's see if you can't read them a little bit. See if I can't give you some more information.
nope.
No, I cannot.
You're left to your musings.
Actually,
um,
roll me
yeah, go ahead.
roll me a history check. I think that'll be assistive here. Assistive? Hey, yeah. You know that of the two orders that you are directly familiar with, the Hunters and the Knights of Fortino, that they take oaths, and those oaths are sort of like a paladin's oaths in that they are magically binding. Um, the Ravis has already made mention that they are under oath and orders. You also know that a certain someone commands them from a certain town. So it stands to reason that they are under oath not to House Fortino, but to that certain someone. Which might be a little bit alarming to you.
Yes, that does seem a little alarming. So then his brief conversation before he leaves with the others. Well, gentlemen, I apologize for the unpleasantries. Please continue to see to your duties, and the next time that I am down in Leyland, I'll be sure to check in and see that everything is running properly and it's well in order.
Uh, the elf wearing the hood kind of draws it back. Well, does draw it back, and you see it's a female. Well, also with good night, buddy. No, you.
Love you too.
Don't talk to them. Talk to me.
But he loves us too.
Tell them good night.
No.
I said it to you.
Not to me. To Uncle John and Uncle Cole.
Good night, Uncle John. Good night, Uncle Cole.
Good night,
No.
Uncle John. Good night, Uncle Coat.
Good night.
night.
Come on.
Sweet dreams, buddy. I love you. My boy.
My brand.
This female kind of draws her hood back and pulls the mask from her mouth down a little bit. And she says, yes, because the leader of House Fortino should be traveling back and forth to Leyland while a dragon is about. And there is nothing but pure spite and venom in her tone. She starts to lean forward as if she really wants to like take a step towards you and maybe deal some damage before that magic takes hold, and she just starts spouting obscenities at you. She goes on for about 3 seconds, stating how frustrating and arrogant it is that a Fortno should be using a dragon as a means of proving, before her oath binds her throat and she can speak no more. Ravis is turned looking at her white-faced, seemingly taken completely off guard by her sudden outburst before he scoops her up by the arm and turns and says, "We'll be on our way," and leaves you.
Well, yes, that was something. He didn't even get a chance to dress them down back.
Probably
Yeah.
for the best.
It was like a 2 minute, long. Well, I'll say 30 seconds long spiel. So,
That's fine.
and they're not they've totally abandoned the loot on the side. They've totally abandoned the bodies. They haven't even started the burning yet. So
So they've like left.
they, so if you're paying attention, watching them leave, They Ravis has the unnamed female elf in his left arm, and they are speaking, almost jogging away before there is a flash of purple light that takes them somewhere.
Thorn spits in their direction. And
Look at that cat.
it's a bear.
That's his belly.
Pet him, pet him.
Sleepy.
Without looking at either of her companions, she'll say, "We should at least take the stuff with us. Plenty of room on the cart. It's bad form to leave it here. Belongs to the dead."
Well, what of the items do you want to put on the cart and take with us that belongs to the dead?
Whatever's over there, some coffers and shit over there.
Well, yes. Property of House Fortuno.
There are 2 chests laden with gold. There are a decent number of functional weapons, several leather pouches that gleam with gold and silver on the inside of them, and some feral looking, I don't want to call it jewel accessories, I guess, made of bones and leather straps, but some of them have gold pieces, silver pieces, and some of them, a few of them even have gems. And I'll get you a total count of everything after the session.
Sounds
Fair
good.
enough. Well, you can take any of these items like this over here, but those coffers we are not to take.
Thorn doesn't care about the gold.
Thorn, for you, there is actually a wood and metal shield with the symbol painted on it of your tribe, and there is a lizard folk halberd that on the tip has or on the blade rather, has a symbol that you are familiar with that I will maybe narrate or draw. I haven't decided yet. But either way, one belongs to your clan, the other item, the halberd, belongs to the other clan.
Thorn will be at least taking those. She doesn't really care too much about any of the other stuff, but anything that looks lizard folk made or handicrafted or has like lizard folk symbolism on it, she's going to take.
I'll get you a list.
I just look to Reginald. It's not mine, and there's nothing of use to it to me that I can see.
You're
You
broke.
say.
There's a shit ton of gold there. What do you mean? I'm sorry.
Yeah, but isn't the gold in the coffers? And he specifically said the coffers are property of Fort now.
There is
No,
also
there's pouches.
Yeah, there are leather pouches
Okay.
with gold and silver in them.
If those are outside of the coffers, I am grabbing those.
I apologize. I need one moment.
No
No
worries.
problem.
Specifically thought all of the gold was in the coffers. It's like, well, I can't take that. I was told not to touch those.
No, those are the ones that came off the bodies.
Other ones, yes, totally take. Because as he states, I am broke compared to you two, I feel.
What did you even buy that was worth like a bunch of gold? Because I feel like
Nothing. My character's background is ruined,
Okay.
So I don't start with a lot of things. I start with some things, but I don't start with like a ton. Most of the stuff that I have is from my classes item list, which I told D I'm just going to use that versus getting gold because I feel that would make sense for him. He just has what's on his
Sure.
back, really.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is why I described it as like all of his items look nice, but then when you actually see them, they are well worn and torn and like covered in scorch marks and shit because it's clearly the only pair of clothes he has.
Thorn takes her objects and hauls them up onto the cart, and will just sit quietly and wait for the others. Still very much fuming.
I will add the leather bags of coin to the cart, and I will just place them in there, but I won't say anything to Thorn with the obvious look of anger, and I want to bite something on her.
Well, sounds like the loot has been loaded. And do you all do anything about the bodies? Just curious for narrative purposes. You do not have to.
Are they burning already?
They are not. The elves left before they burned
But
them.
they're in a pile to be burned.
They're in a pile.
Thorn will burn them. Thorn will. I'm sure Thorn's got like some kind of flint and tinder on her, and she will burn the rest of the bodies, provided there's nothing, no other like personal effects on them, which there wouldn't be, I guess, because they already took them all off. So
They're pretty thorough. Well, as you burn the corpses, clouds seem to roll in. There's a distant roll of thunder. No rain yet, but it might be coming. And as you start heading up the trail, making your way towards Neverwinter Wood, that column rises up to join the clouds above it. Yeah. So you've made it, we'll say, about halfway up the Tribord Trail. You're about directly south of the hunting lodge. Would you all like to continue on to Coneyberry or go to Falcons? Realistically, there's no reason for you to go to Coneyberry.
Probably go to Falcons then, because at least there we know we can get room and board because Barthen said as much. How much is still to be decided based on how much Falcon likes this wine.
Very well. So you veer off the trail and start heading north to enter the wood. Who is driving the cart?
the ox is driving the cart. Duh.
Who is driving the ox?
Oh, goodness.
I don't. No, it is
All right.
definitely not me.
Reginald will be driving the ox because
I have a +0, so I mean,
it's his level of control in the situation as much as he can exert it.
Thorn is better than me at this shtick, and she has a 0. I'm just laying that out there.
So for these checks, you're not looking at animal handling. You'll be looking at survival. This is more to navigate the wood correctly than it is to handle the ox. The ox is totally docile and listens to your every command. So
well, Thorn has a +2 in that. So if anybody beats a +2, feel free.
No,
I have a +2.
I have a +1, but with my disadvantage, I'm not going to do anything.
All right, John, you want to do rollies to see who rolls?
Rollies to see who rolls.
Yeah, just roll d20. All right, there we go.
I think it's me.
Thorn is too mad. Thorn is too upset. She should not be handling the ox right now. She
Too
might
upset
just eat it
he's getting,
instead.
Thorn's riding the ox to feel better. Very well. Well, Reginald, please make me a survival check. Nice. So you enter the wood, and it's fairly easy to navigate this far out. The trees, while still forest dense, are pretty sparse. So you're not making a whole bunch of turns. Nothing's like directly in your path. And you start traveling north. Uh, you don't get extremely far, though. Let's see here. I have something written for this. So, as you enter the wood, there is a short clearing, maybe 100 feet in length, that you come upon, and as you enter it, you notice something kind of out of the ordinary. There is a wild boar in this clearing, and it is glaring at you. What do you do?
You who? You as in like us as a collective group, or you as in Reginald?
What does the party do?
Thorn glares back.
Hmm.
Well, it would appear that you have two options. You can circumvent the boar, who is directly in your path, or you can make to go straight at the boar.
Um, hmm. Would I be able to determine whether or not I could get a feel for the boar in a term of like, I don't know, animals, survival sense or knowledge about the animals itself as like a, you know, territorial creature to know that if we try to run, if it would attack, or if we try to like run it down, if it would run, kind of thing.
Uh, you don't have to roll for that. You get the sense that if you approach this boar, we'll say if you get within 30 feet of it, it's going to rush you. It will take your approach as encroaching on its territory. If you circumvent the boar, keeping a good distance between you and it, or otherwise manage to make the boar go somewhere else, so that way you don't have to interact with it at all, the boar will not. It will not move from where it is at. It is the king of the hill right now. Does that answer
Hmm.
the question you were trying to?
Yes, yes, it
Okay.
does. Well, this is a bit perplexing. Obviously, if we go headlong at it, it's going to charge us. If we go around, we will undoubtedly lose some time, but it will not attack us. So,
It's just a
question.
pig.
Well, it looks like just a pig. However, looks can be deceiving.
If it looks like a pig and it smells like pig, it's a pig.
Well, okay. Very well.
Just like Lionel,
So-
how he's a skunk.
So Lionel, should we go at this pig then?
Sure, why not? It'll let her blow off some steam.
All right. Well, at least be ready at the front because this could get interesting.
Yeah.
Thorn bites! And she'll charge at the pig.
Oh, okay.
We will go at the pig.
She is already ahead.
I need all of you to roll initiative.
Yep.
Let's see. Do we have tokens to highlight for rolling initiative, or do you want us to just roll numbers?
There's Lionel, there's Reginald, and there's Thorn, and I will drag you all up north. So that way you all look like you're somewhere in the forest lost. Wow.
Thorn's not first this time.
Okay, I am certainly last.
Well, Thorn, you are actually first. And then,
Because of your advancements.
yep.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Tell me what you are doing. You are roughly 30 feet away from the spore.
Thorn is going to run at it, and when she gets to the 30 feet, she's gonna pull out her. Oh, did I not put it on here? What the heck? Oh, I just didn't equip it. Herp. I'm gonna pull out my little hand crossbow and I'm gonna shoot it. Off to a good start. Yes.
You chill just a little bit.
She wants bacon.
No.
She wants bacon.
I need you to re-roll your attack and
What?
your damage.
Why?
Don't ask me questions. Your attack and your damage.
Swear to God, this somehow boomerang's bound and
Fuck!
hits me in the butt.
The highs and the
Still
lows.
rolled a 10. Still rolled max on damage though.
Jesus fucking Christ. Alright. So the reroll for the attack was actually to see if you crit or not. Because of Thorn's emotional state, I'm kind of giving you a little bit of a burst mode, we'll call it right here. So narratively, you're charging this boar, and this boar is taken aback at first. Like you're definitely like it was not expecting you to charge it. It thought that its angry facade would deter you. So it kind of takes a step back, and as you shoot your crossbow, uh, yeah, you're like adrenaline, you're angry adrenaline pumping. So you actually uh, you fire twice in rapid succession. Like you the bow the armature actuates and you already have another bolt in place and you just yank it back without letting it reactuate for the trigger and let it go. So and both bolts strike true. Um, one kind of deflects off of its dense skull, and the other one kind of plants itself into its broad shoulder. And it squeals loudly. And now give me a second to.
Piggy.
I lost my damage page. God damn it. Um, does that end your turn though? How close did you get to it? Are you within melee?
Uh, it says range is 30 feet / 120 feet. So I think I just would have gotten close enough to shoot it, honestly.
Very well. I apparently forgot to make a boar token, so.
Is that 30 feet minimum, 120 feet maximum for ranged? Is that what that means?
Yes.
Is it listed as 3120?
It's listed as 30 120.
Yeah.
So if I'm under 30 feet and I shoot with it, I do it at disadvantage, right? Because it's a ranged weapon.
You only do it with disadvantage if they're directly in front of you within 5 feet, I think. Is that correct?
I'm always vague on the short range aspect of it. I don't know if disadvantage comes into play with being under the short range or not. I know that if you try to hit something beyond the max range, it's at disadvantage.
I
And
think
I
it's
know
the
that if you're
same.
in melee range
No,
attacking,
I'm sorry. It's melee range, you get disadvantage, so 5 feet. 30 feet is with the enemy. Within 30 feet is normal. And then after 30 feet, it's
Disadvantage.
the
Because it's a long
disadvantage again because it's a long range shot at that point.
And
And
the
then
ones
the
when it's
120 feet is you can't hit anything past 120 feet.
correct.
okay, that makes sense.
Okay. All right. Whatever. Then I would have gotten in within 30 feet, or at 30 feet, to roll normally for it.
Very well. Since that completes your turn, we're now going to go down the turn order. Starting with it.
That is not a pig.
Yes, well,
It's
as I
a
said,
token.
It'll taste like bacon. It's
No,
fine.
well, spicy water.
It's just very zoomed in on the pig. Okay.
Thorn's not eating that. Tainted.
this boar shifts before your eyes into a half orc that is now crouched in a low position. And it will advance to close the gap between you and it.
Listen, I've already had one of your kind, or at least half of your kind, and I'm not about it. Your guys are kind of tough.
Half.
I was really
Was it
hoping for
like-
some pig.
Was it like the front half and the back half?
It was thigh. You remember?
Thigh.
Yeah.
Big old
It
chunk
was
of thigh.
Conch. Okay. All right. So, so Reginald, I guess, will. He's technically still on the cart, but he will. He will assault at this boar in front of him with a firebolt from a slightly elevated position.
The ox lowers its head.
it knows what's up.
Very well. Is that your turn?
That is my turn. Gonna pre-cook it for Thorn.
Thorn,
Thorn appreciates it.
it's your turn again.
So you said this thing is a half orc now, right?
Yes.
Thorn's gonna look at it, and with my free action, I'm gonna talk to it. I'm gonna go, "What the heck? We thought you were a pig." Does it respond at all?
I'm sorry, I need a moment to think about how they would respond.
Oink.
And I thought travelers knew better than to encroach on Talos territory.
On Talos territory?
Mhm.
Like the god?
Like the god.
All territory is Emmanuel's territory. No. I'm gonna hold my action, and I'm gonna hold Actually, you said he charged forward, right? No.
She, yes, has closed the distance between you two. She is within 5 feet.
Okay. But she hasn't attacked yet.
She used her action to polymorph, so no, she
Okay.
has not.
Remind me, DMs. Swapping your weapon is an action, or is it a bonus action?
For
So
you, it is a free action.
there you go. There's a
Yes,
couple
the
different
DM
schools.
hath spoken.
Yeah, there's a couple different schools on how that works, and you have your answer now.
Okay.
Yep.
It used to be a feat that you used to have to take, but
Right.
that's stupid.
Nobody
I
likes quick draw.
I will draw my rapier and just have it out, and I want to hold my actual action so that if she comes within 5 feet, I'll take my attack with it.
She is already within 5 feet.
Like she's directly in front of me in a square.
You shot her. She changed from boar to half orc and charged you,
Okay.
closing the gap of 30 feet.
Can I hold my action until she attacks me? Or is that not a thing?
As in, when she attacks, you want to act.
Yeah, kind of like a reaction. I think you're only allowed to like hold your action for like certain triggers though. I don't think I'm technically by law allowed to do that.
So the problem with that, I think, is that normally I think it's hold action is triggered on a movement, right? But I don't see why you wouldn't be able to wait for them to attack. You're sort of pseudo bracing for it. Sure, why not?
Okay, I'll just hold my action then. If she goes to swing and attack me, I will attack her back. That's my turn.
Lionel.
I don't got time to deal with this shit.
Sir Saggy Eyes.
Bang. Does a 17 hit?
You do?
I look at this. Lionel is not much for the gods. So he is not really up on religion. All he knows is that this thing that was a boar is not a boar, clearly has charged at Thorn with intent, and he's just like, I don't want to deal with things anymore. And he takes out his crossbow, and shoots it, but when he shoots it, people will see that technically doesn't have any ammunition in it, but as he fires, ammunition pops into it, hits the orc, leaves a puncture mark, and then disappears. That is one of my infusions. It makes it so I don't have to reload crossbows.
That's great.
Tell me you were infusing your crossbow.
Yep, I did. I infused it, and I have my alchemy jug. I have two.
All right. Very well. Phenomenal. Thorn, make your attack if you're going to attack, because it is attacking you.
Oh my god, I haven't found the thing to click. Oh, I didn't mean crossbow. Let me just re-roll that. It's not going to be nearly as good. It's going to be so disappointing.
You went the complete opposite direction. You rolled a 19 and max damage, and then you rolled a 2 and min damage.
I know. But the digital dice hate me. I'm so bad with digital dice.
I don't know what you're talking about, because technically you've rolled damn near a 19 or high enough, and you've rolled max damage 3 times in a row. One of them just doesn't count. Sorry. All right. So you swing well, I guess poke with your rapier, and it meets the chest of this anchorite and bends and then flicks off. And I did not manage to do any real damage. She, however, God damn it. Why do you have an 18 armor class?
I am small, but I am mighty.
Paul Alden.
Paul Alden.
It only gets worse from here, brother. It only gets
Yeah.
worse from here.
It's
for
my
their defenses.
dexterity bonus because I have a high dexterity, plus my shield and my armor.
Well, I was gonna say she smacks you, but she doesn't. She lunges forward after your rapier grazes off of her, and two bone claws sprout from her knuckles, sort of like, oh boy, Wolverine there, and just barely misses your cheek. Or what? Let's see. Can't she do anything else?
Is there anything else I can use to try to fuck you up?
That'll be her turn.
Okie dokie. Reginald is going to. That's a 10-foot sphere. I don't want to use that. Reginald is going to attack the anchorite with magic missile.
Roll your damage. What is with all these
Spicy.
max damage rolls?
Don't worry, I didn't roll, Max.
Does that complete your turn?
I think so. Yeah, let me look at this again. It was first level evocation spell cast at second level. Shouldn't that have had +1 for upcast? When you cast a
It
spell,
would have
using
gotten
a
another
spell slot. Second spell
missile.
creates more darts for so it should have had an additional, but I don't know why it didn't roll that. It just rolled 1. That's weird.
Roll it again. What do you got to add to it?
It's supposed to just have more attacks, like
D4s,
more
yeah.
hits. Yeah, it's just 1d4 plus 1, I think. 1d4 plus 1?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so roll another d4 and add 1 to it.
So 8 total.
Or what? That it?
That is in fact it. Thank you.
No. Thorn.
I'm gonna booming blade it with my rapier.
Shit.
Everyone shake the room.
How are
She
you
shook the
rolling
room
so
all right.
I don't know, okay?
Man, this digital dice, they just hate you.
Yeah.
Well, the thunder damage doesn't come in until it moves, I think, or something, right?
Right.
Correct. That's still 10 and like what, a 19? Yep.
Let me go read Booming Blade, because I feel like I don't know how this works. I thought I did, but I apparently don't. Weapon attacks normal effects and then becomes sheathed in booming energy until the start. If target willingly moves 5 feet or more before then, blah 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 blah. 1d8 turn. Okay, got it.
You
But it just
basically
takes
attacked. You attacked and you put them in a bubble.
Yeah.
And if they leave that bubble, it pops and goes boom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The half orc is reeling right now. Renewed frustration strengthening your attack this time, and anger fueling that spell kind of blasts it forward. You're breaking the sound barrier with how quickly you thrust. And she staggers backwards, but manages to hold her ground. Does that complete your turn?
I'm gonna use my free action to talk to her. And I'm just gonna say, we didn't come out here to kill anybody. We don't want to hurt you, but we will if we have to. Just stop attacking us.
It's very level-headed of you.
Thorn's not a murderer. I mean, unless you're an animal she wants to eat.
I don't know. I just thought that your emotional state was a little bit more aggressive than that. That's my fault, though. So, she kind of snarls at you, already having retorted to you once, but in too much pain to do so now.
That's my
but
turn.
that brings us to Lionel.
She's still looking like she's going to try and murder us, yeah?
You can't tell. If you would like to see more about her intentions, you would have to roll me an insight check.
No. I'm going to take a play out of Junie's book and I cast Magic Missile.
Magic missile.
I take out. I use my armor as the arcane focus this time and just will pull some rivets made of light to come out of it and pop into the orc. Or half orc. Takes 3 points of damage.
Pew, pew, pew.
Very well. Anything else?
No, that is it. I'm not moving from where I am. I don't need to get up in this thing's face. Thorn seems fine at the moment.
Well, that brings us to its turn. Thorn, please make me a dexterity saving throw. How do I make this game roll dice for me?
Just do slash roll space number D, number of the dice sides, and then plus, and then any modifiers.
Got it.
Or you can use a little dice rolling pop out thing to do it that way too. or if you want it to be secret, then I think you have to do like the GM stuff in front of it, but I don't remember how that works.
Thorn, you take 13 points of thunder damage.
Yikes.
So what happens here is the anchorite, clearly enraged and in pain at this point, uh, Source is the biggest threat, and their position currently is that uh, pseudo in between you all, Thorn having charged forth a little bit, um, the anchorite having closed the distance with them and engaged in some melee. Uh, so they cast lightning bolt at you. Their eyes briefly glow this lightning blue as their hand comes up. And they go to reach for you, but instead of touching you, that lightning sprouts forth from their hand. Instinctually, you manage to roll out of the way of the largest arc, but all of these sub arcs attract to you, grounding themselves through you. And she will give a satisfied grunt. And Reginald, it is your turn.
Well, given how that just went down, I think that Reginald is going to yeah, I think he's going to cast Witch Bolt at the target. So let's do second level cast. I am going to use my inspiration to reroll my hit.
Go ahead.
Let's see, that was 1d20 plus 5. Well,
Wow.
Well then.
So-
the dice giveth and they taketh away.
true.
I really hate how inspiration works, but all right. We'll talk about that later. Your witch bolt goes off, and they manage to just at the last second sort of use their bone claw to like get that shit out of here. Would you like to do anything else though?
I don't believe so. I think that is Reginald's turn.
Very well. Thorn.
Thorn is going to hit it.
And then quit it.
Does that hit?
It does.
Okay. Is it still standing after that hit?
How would you like to kill it?
Oh, awesome. I think Thorn like got zapped by that, and she's kind of like reeling a little bit, but she's just like, and then she, how do I want to do this? I think she kind of like shakes herself off like a dog, and just like immediately pushes off of one of her feet and just charges forward and just like the orcs, just kind of goes upwards. But I think she aims a little bit higher. And if this priest has any kind of like amulet to Talos, she wants to pierce right through it. Just like into its chest or something. No more of that.
So you all have just witnessed as this half-orc, already being kind of low to the ground, having managed to deflect a witch bolt, turned to face the closer of the combatants to deal with them. Jerk in surprise as Thorn's Thorn skewers her, ripping off the amulet of Talos from her chest. Very well. Congratulations on a fight well won. You killed the bacon.
It's not bacon, though. It's not.
It's not
It's
bacon no
half-orc
more.
It's half-orc bacon, which I don't know. Maybe
No.
you haven't sampled half-orc bacon before. I don't know.
No, Thorn wanted real bacon.
What if we polymorph the body?
You know what? That actually poses a really interesting question that I don't think Thorn has ever thought about. If something is polymorphed into another creature, does it taste like that creature or does it taste like the original creature?
Polymorph only takes effect on living creatures.
Well,
You revert
I
back
tried.
to your standard form upon death.
That's on
tried.
death though. Like what if this thing polymorphed into a pig and you like cut its leg off and ate the leg? Would it taste like a pig or would it taste like a half orc?
Polymorph only affects living creatures.
What if it's still
Like,
alive
so
after
if
you
that-
cut its leg off?
Yeah, but if you cut the leg
He's
off, the
saying the
leg,
leg
would
is
revert
not.
back to
Oh,
the original
okay.
form.
Yeah,
That's stupid.
because the leg is an inert piece of mass at that point. Ergo,
That's dumb.
Leg goes from person to thing just like that.
What?
Late night D&D conversations.
I
The true philosophical questions.
don't think it's so much philosophical as Thorn apparently wants to eat something that's pork related.
She wants bacon. Man.
Thorn likes food, okay? Specifically meat. She does not think that eating this particular meat is going to help her accomplish what she set out to do. So,
It is meat we don't eat.
she will. I think she takes her rapier and she like cleans it off, just like with whatever cloth is nearby.
You go to remove your rapier, right? The cultist fell down to her knees, and it's kind of the life leaves her eyes. But as you go to pull the rapier out, her hand goes up to grip it, and she says something to you in a language that you don't understand before her hand then goes limp again.
What language is it though?
Don't worry about it. You don't know it.
Are you sure I don't know it?
I'm sure that none of you know the language.
Damn.
To say it's probably Druidic.
I was gonna say if it was like Draconic, like I know Draconic. All of us do.
This is a half orc. Why wouldn't it speak to you in orc?
Right. And none of it's no orc. The closest one is me, which I speak Goblin.
Listen, just because you're an orc doesn't mean you grew up with other orcs.
Anyway,
The kobold lizard folk would know.
Thorn is not a kobold.
later I can't wait to tell y'all about some shit. So,
Okay.
but
Good stuff.
that's for off stuff.
Mhm.
Anyway, anything else you would like to do? You've successfully cleared the path. No damage was done to the ox. Good boy, Vincent.
You good, Thorn?
A little frag. Still mad. Extra mad. There's no bacon.
I'll get back in the cart. We'll see what we can do about food when we get there.
Before Thorn gets back on the cart, is there anything weird about this orc? Like, is there anything on the body aside from like it just being a Talos cultist? Like, that just doesn't seem right. Like, are there any notes or orders like in their pockets or like, I don't know, weird trinkets?
No.
Thunder cans.
Thunder cans. Okay. Well, if there's nothing weird about it and I don't find anything that like screams, "Hey, this is wrong," Thorn will begrudgingly get back on the cart.
Very well. You all continue the journey, I take it?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Then, thankfully, the rest of your journey to the hunting lodge is uneventful. Hold on. So, you're technically approaching from the west side of the hunting lodge, which it looks like my map didn't. Son of a bitch. Oh god
Maps
damn.
broke. We're lost.
It's all gray. I don't understand what happened.
Do you have some kind of fog alert turned on?
No, it's gray as in it lost the image. Fuck. I'm just gonna read it to you instead of trying to fix this.
Theater of the mind.
A thin fog surrounds a fortified compound standing in a clearing on the east side of a narrow river. A 10-foot high log palisade surrounds the compound, whose main building is a 2-story stone and wood affair with a high pitched roof, gables, window shutters, and a stone chimney. Attached to the main building is a blocky tower of gray stone, its high roof lined with battlements. Other structures include a 2-story stable house, and a gatehouse whose flat roof is enclosed by iron railings. A stone bridge spans the river, ending before an oaken door set into the gatehouse's outer wall. Mounted next to the door is a bell with a short rope hanging from its clapper. Clap, 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 clap.
Clap.
So you all have arrived at a compound that on your map is marked as Falcon's Hunting. The gate is currently shut.
Is there any kind of like bell or anything near the gate?
Why do you hate me?
Ding 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 ding.
Because if not, I'll just try to open the gate.
I run up and I ring the bell.
Mounted next to the door is a bell with a short rope hanging from its clapper.
There you go.
Clap,
Have
clap,
at it.
clap, clap.
Clap.
Thanks, man.
There you go, Thorn. Have at it.
Thorn obnoxiously rings the bell as much as she can, as loudly and as quickly as she can.
All right, all right, all right. There's a call from the top of the gatehouse. A short, stocky man with black hair, looks at you from over the battlements. After assessing you for a moment, deems you a non-threat and opens the gate for you.
I give it another ding before we go in.
You're a child.
Thorn is not a child. Thorn is 7 or 12.
Plus or minus 5.
Big difference in age, especially relative to what you consider an adult. Just want to reiterate that.
And I want to reiterate that kobolds, lizard folk, age and mature differently than people do. So.
Right. That's why I'm saying that's a big difference. 5 years is a very big difference.
Anyway, we go in.
I apologize. I need just a moment.
Okay.
You're
fine.
all good.
So yeah, you could be an adult or you could be a senior citizen.
Are you actually saying this to Thorn?
Of course not.
Okay.
You dare?
Thorn must still bite you. Better watch your ankles tonight, Skunk Man.
Not skunk. Been over this so many times.
You will not ever convince her. You could have a literal hyena directly in front of Thorn and then shift, and Thorn would still say, "Nope, you look like a skunk."
And then bite. Oh no, skunk don't bite like that. Skunk's supposed to smell.
I apologize.
You're fine.
You have Reginald off in the car. In my mind's eye, I see like Reginald being like the really reluctant babysitter.
That's pretty accurate.
And he's just like, he's got Thorn in one of those little like kid leash backpack things. And Lionel's just like he's trying to wrangle Thorn, and he's also trying to kind of like wrangle Lionel a little bit because Lionel's off like eyeing something and being curious and tinkering with something he probably shouldn't be.
We haven't gotten anything I can actually fuck around with yet as Smith, unfortunately.
Yet.
Yeah, I know. I prefaced correctly. Trust me, as soon as we find something mechanical that is likely to kill us if I fuck with it the wrong way because it explodes, 10 out of 10, I will be the one to do it, probably.
I don't doubt that for a minute.
It's also a shame I probably have the best score to actually fuck with said dangerous things.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
See the light.
Character check. Make sure you can move your tokens.
Thorn is free.
Yep. I can move.
Phenomenal. So you all are currently on the bridge. You have just made your way through the gatehouse. I apologize that this isn't all pretty. What happened to the original map, but just bear with me.
Thorn's token is huge. Thorn is big now.
So, as this gentleman, whoever it may be, lets you in, they climb down the gatehouse and meet you in the northern yard here. They introduce themselves as Corwin. Well, what brings the likes of you all here? A bit far from the roads, aren't we?
Yes, we are traveling towards the logging camp in the woods, and, well, we were told that this would be a fair place to pull off and ride out the evening. We also came to see Falcon, as we have a very nice bottle of wine here that I believe he would appreciate.
Ah, yes. Uh, Master Falcon would enjoy that greatly. If you will all remain here, I will go fetch him for you.
Yes, thank you, thank you.
Corwin motions uh, seemingly to nowhere, and as if out of nowhere, a young child appears. Bell, take their ox and get them ready, presentable. Have them drop off their things. Lead them to the guest house. Uh, Pell, as you heard his name, nods enthusiastically and uh, walks up to Vincent and takes the reins and, with a gentle tug, leads Pell down south towards the stables. And after a few moments, comes back to find you all and leads you into this northern building up here. Uh, Pell does not say anything. He is a human child, um, light brown hair, and either choosing not to or unable to speak to you all. But as he brings you all inside, he quietly shuts the door and takes his leave. And after a few minutes, um, the door bangs open again, and you see a very tall human male, about 6 feet, 6.5 feet tall, with black hair and broad shoulders, wearing a fur lined cloak over some studded leather armor. Immediately, you notice his eyes as cold and blue as ice. He sports a neatly trimmed beard, and he moves into this abode with the confidence of someone who fears nothing. Well, Corwin tells me that we had a few new guests. I'm Falcon, and you're currently standing in the guest house at Falcon's Hunting Lodge. What brings you all here?
Wine.
Ah, well, yes, of sorts. We are currently traveling from Vandalen to the logging camp. There's been some question about the whereabouts of an individual that should be there, and we are on our little journey here to investigate that. But it was brought to our attention from those within Fandalen that this would be a fair place to stay over on our journey, and that bringing out a bottle of wine would be a good gesture as well for our arrival.
Uh, Falcon gives a slight chuckle and he says, Barthen put you up to this, didn't he?
Yes, yes, he was quite forward about it.
He make you pay for the wine.
He did, yes.
uh, Falcon reaches into his coin purse and pulls out 10 gold. Says, I'll take you up on that wine.
Very well then. Yes. Here it is, and Reginald will produce the wine from his backpack.
I really need to learn how to make my own. But you all said that you're headed towards the logging camp. You've made a good place to call your stop for the evening. Feel free to use this guest room. I won't charge you anything. I do have a more lavish room if you would like. I will have to charge you for that, though. Got to make a living. Otherwise, feel free to stay here. I'll get my cook, Corwin, I believe you met already, to cook you up a meal. And you all can head out to the logging camp in the morning.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
You, Falcon takes a look at your group, like really taking them in for a second. He says, keep strange company, don't you? It's, can I ask your names?
Yes. Well, I am Reginald Alexander Fortuneau III, and
No. I know who you are, obviously.
Yes.
Yes,
Apologies.
I get it. You're important. Shut up.
It is good to be recognized.
You know, actually, your mom was. I'm sorry, Mistress Fortno was here not too long ago, inquiring about the shape of this place.
No, was she?
But, who's your company?
Thorn is
Well,
Thorn.
Yes, this here is Thorn, as she has undoubtedly let you know. And that one over there is named Lionel. He's, I don't know, a bit squirrely of
Is he
sorts.
dead?
No, he's not dead. He's just
Tired.
maybe. Yes, you could use the rest.
Well, all right.
Uh,
Go ahead.
Thorn kind of like tugs at Reginald's sleeve a little bit. No, it's not squirrel. It's skunk.
Right. He is so affectionately known as the Skunk Man. So
It's
yes,
neither
I
of
suppose
those things. Fuck you both.
you can note that in your ledger for those that stayed over, if you have such.
Lionel, what's fuck?
Pejorative. It's a pejorative or a adjective, depending on how you want to use it, Thorn.
That doesn't answer the question.
It means either someone's being a fucking asshole, or it means you want to have sex with someone.
Then why not just say that?
Because fuck is a
I wanna
much.
fuck.
Because fuck is a much stronger word to use, especially in this instance. It's the pejorative instance of piss off both of you. I'm neither a skunk nor a squirrel.
Falcon takes a knee and puts his hand on Thorn's shoulder and it says, it's usually used to denote a lot of passion. I really want to fuck.
Thorn just like stares at him for a minute, and you could probably see like the gears whirling in her tiny little kobold head, and she just kind of loudly, after a moment of thinking, goes, "Fuck!" Thorn learned a new word.
You know,
Yes, lovely.
Thorn, where is your walk?
My walk is always on my back.
Is the symbol visible?
Yeah, I think she would wear it like a turtle shell.
Okay. Falcon stands up and nonchalantly motions at your walk. Says, "You know, I met a couple that were sporting a symbol like that recently."
She like narrows her eyes a little bit and just tilts her head.
I was just curious what it means. You know.
She takes her shield off and she like kind of incessantly taps at the symbol. This is symbol of family. Thorn's tribe.
Kobold tribes, huh?
No, Thorn is not a kobold. And she like stomps her little foot. Thorn is a lizard folk. Greatest lizard folk that ever lived.
I don't know about that. The brute that I met was too big to fit in this room.
Thorn's ears immediately like shoot up.
Trying to remember his name. He came by maybe 3 weeks ago. Him and this. Well, I guess she was about my height. Vorl was the small one's name. I can't remember the big one's name. But they spoke. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
They spoke common, unlike any lizard folk I knew. They almost ate the end of my arrows, though. First I was almost terrified. The one with 4 arms, man. He opened the gate all by himself, and that's some heavy oak.
Thorn's tail is just a constant on the floor. It's just thump, 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 thump. Yeah, it's Mom and Dad.
Oh, okay. Man, I didn't know that, look, I'm not trying to be offensive. You don't look like lizard folk. Like, they were much bigger than you. What's up with you?
Thorn thinks about it for a second. Thorn is small. Thorn is on a mission from Samanua. Thorn has to eat a lot of food.
Well, I can certainly help with that. At least for tonight, anyway. He turns to leave, and you actually get a good look at his quiver, and it's about half the arrows in it are of the same make as Voral's.
Did Mom trade you? You bartered?
I did, yeah. For well, they wanted a good bit of my livestock, so they paid a hefty sum for that. I try to keep a season's worth up here, so. But that's their business. Although I suppose if you're family, it makes it your business too. What are you doing away from mom and dad?
Mission. Thorn has to eat a lot.
Falcon looks to Lionel and Reginald and says, "Man, all these different traditions. You know, where I'm from, we raise our young. We feed them. It seems a little bit different."
Thorn is very
she-
confused.
She's not a kid.
No, Thorn is an adult. Just small. That's why Thorn has to eat lots of different types of meat, so Thorn can catch up to brothers and sisters.
Lionel just kind of shakes his head like, I don't believe that for a second. As he's just looking at Falcon like, that's probably some bullshit. She's probably just short, or she is actually a kobold and was adopted.
Every bit of me wants to make you make another perception check.
Rolls a 3.
Probably.
But Falcon says, "Well, if you're looking for conversation, I'd love to indulge you. But for the meantime, why don't you join me over at the dining hall, and we can get Corwin cooking for us, huh?"
Sounds fantastic.
Excellent. I'll crack open this bottle. We can share some tales. And with that, he leads the three of you out of the guest house to the east and down into this big old room over here. And now, as you enter, you immediately notice that the walls of this dining hall are lined with the heads of orcs and some other game, but the orc heads look fresh.
I have a question. Do I notice anything like a werewolf or anything like that in here out of curiosity?
Oh.
Oh man, why don't we roll for it? Let's do you want to find one? I'm just curious.
No!
Let's see what your perceptionist says before we make any other decisions.
I don't want
Great.
to find one because that's going to lead to a lot of things that are uncomfortable.
You're going to find one.
Yep.
High or low?
Hi.
Luck is not in your favor today.
Oh, no.
Please roll me a perception check.
Okie doke.
Roll low. Don't notice it. Roll a 1.
Have a good chance at that.
Look the other way.
Had enough trauma today. Oh, really? Really cold.
So as you walk in, it's actually pretty easy to miss it because it's mounted over the door that you enter.
Oh, God. Okay.
So you walk under the jaws of this snarling wolf head. But upon closer inspection, as you scan the room, looking in at this impressive array of trophies, your attention's drawn back to that wolf head, and you realize that it's far more humanoid than it should be.
Lionel does not feel comfortable anymore.
Aw.
I'll give you an opportunity to say anything about it. If not, then I will continue with narrating.
I'll ask at dinner when his mouth is more occupied with food.
Very well. Before you is a very large table. There's a flight of stairs off to the west of the room that leads upstairs, and a door that leads into what you assume to be a kitchen. That is where Falcon heads immediately. And you hear some banter back and forth between him and Corwin. Corwin Dowith.
Corbin, my man.
Before he
Coming.
returns back and he says, awesome. Sounds like we've got some food cooking and all we got to do is wait a spell. So please take a seat, be my guests. We'll crack open this bottle and start pouring, shall we?
Lionel will choose a seat that very specifically does not have that lycanthrope head in view of it.
That's kind of hard.
Yeah.
The tables, the backs of the table, or I'm sorry, the backs of your seats would either face east or west, so it's
Nice.
always going to be in your peripheral.
Okay, that's fine. I will take the one that is furthest away from it.
Very well.
Can I insight check? Or roll a perception, or however you want to. I guess it would be insight. To see if I notice if Lionel's uncomfortable.
It's not fair. The man's tired.
There. I'm trying to hide it, but I fail.
I mean, I have a +0, so I mean.
Nah, what? Nah, what?
It's a nice.
I already rolled my deception. I got a 3.
Thorn notices it, but she won't say anything about it. But she'll clock it and put it away for later. It's okay. I think instead she turns to Thorn. Thorn turns to Thorn. Thorn turns to Falcon, and she kind of like points up at one of the orcs. Did you know that orcs are very tough?
I mean, oh, I understand what you said. Falcon doesn't. I don't think they're very tough. Thorn. It's kind of easy to kill an orc, and I take great pleasure in doing so.
Oh, that's not what Thorn meant. Thorn meant that they're, and she kind of like gestures towards like her own thigh. They're insides.
Their insides are squishy when they come outside. Is that what you're trying to say?
No. Ugh, this I just grossed myself out with this. Thorn takes a little piece of like dried orc meat out of her pocket.
Why?
Provisions
You
for
know,
the
for
road.
later. Just save it for later.
And she just kind of holds it out like this. The meat's very tough.
Pocket orc jerky. Oh God.
How do I want to narrate this? Because you definitely didn't have time to make orc jerky.
Oh, it's not actually jerky. It's literally just like dried, desiccated piece of orc. Like it's not good.
The worst.
Falcon lifts up one hand and does finger gun at you. Finger gun snap. He's like, "That's disgusting." Before leaning back in his chair and putting his hands behind his head, he's like, I can't say I've ever had the desire to taste a lesser meat like orc. They're such a garbage race, if you can even call them that."
God.
But
That is very
kudos to you.
opinionated.
Yes.
Kudos to you for being bold enough to try something so rancid.
I think that Thorn's demeanor changes a little bit, and it goes from like her normal semi-chipper, like kobold demeanor, to a little bit more serious and much more somber, because this is not the first time that she has, in her life, probably heard the term lesser race. Because lizard folk are not treated as kindly as the quote unquote more superior races, and she doesn't like the connotation of what is being said. Even though it's not directed at her, she knows what it feels like to be called a lesser race. She just tucks her little nugget of desiccated orc away back in her bag, and just kind of sits quietly.
Very well. Um, do any of you strike up any particular conversation?
So,
Original.
what is this wine business all about here? Why were we? What did Barthen go on about? Why did you need this or want it? It seemed as if it was some joke.
I'm a bit of an alcoholic, but it's dry up here, if you take my meaning.
Oh, I see.
Most of my time up here is actually spent dealing with your ilk. No offense, your highness, my lord. Well, Reginald. Catering to you, your family, and leading you through these woods is my job, making sure that you stay safe. Not that your mother ever really needed it, but your father was kind of a pansy about navigating these woods, so. Actually
Well,
introduced him to her, you know? I guess I'm part of the
really?
reason you exist.
Well, that's certainly interesting. I don't know that I've heard the particulars of that story.
I love you, dude, but you know it's not true. He's human, they're elves, and you're like 70. If he was there at your conception. Anyway.
such as it is. Swine is not that bad. I've certainly had better, but at the same time, it's not the worst.
Eh, I never much cared for city life, but when you get that many people working together to create a work of art like alcohol, usually turns out pretty okay. Needless to say, thank you again for living the joke for me. Barthen likes to make a lot of fun of me for choosing this lifestyle over coming back down there with all them townsfolk. Too many people, in my opinion.
Well, it certainly was not the type of lifestyle I would have chosen for myself, but at the same time, well, I don't know how much of that is really under my own control at this stage, but I make the best of it.
That's all any of us can do. We appreciate your house as is. Met a couple of elves about 2 days ago that were helping me hunt some orcs around here, so been doing good work, the Fort No Name. As he's talking, Corwin comes out to deliver your meals. Bunch of a lot of different types of meat. You have some beef, some chicken, and uh, some goat, all slathered with pretty standard fare, gravy, and some root vegetables. So good stuff, but not like Neverwinter City uh, banquet type stuff. Plenty of fish too. As the plates are set before you, Falcon, you see he gets a glint in his eye as he eyes his food and he says, "My favorite time of the evening." And he picks up his fork, starts digging in.
I think with him starting to eat, Lionel will eat as well.
Thorn will eat some of the like goat and fish and stuff. But she's definitely a little bit more somber than she was like 20 minutes ago.
Well, do any of you strike up any conversation during the feast?
I think as it begins to kind of wind down, Lionel will ask, I've been noticing all the trophies around the room. Did you get these all by yourself? Or are they all yours?
Aye, every trophy that I mount is something I've killed just by myself. I take great pride in that.
I'm I've been looking all around the room and the one at the door there kind of caught my eye a little as he
Aye,
points to the one he's been avoiding looking at all evening.
aye, she almost got me. And he kind of tilts his head to the side, grabs the scruff of his shirt, and rips down his or pulls down his collar, and you see a jagged scar from the base of his neck going down towards his chest. Almost, but my knife was a little bit faster.
Was she causing trouble somewhere?
Uh, Started out innocent enough, I guess. I don't know how much you know about werewolves, but suffice it to say, some of them keep their minds and some of them go feral. And I had the misfortune of watching her go feral. So, over a fortnight, I watched her take a few bodies from Connieberry and I had to what was left of those. And after the last one, I decided that I was going to do something about it. Didn't seem right letting her mind rot away like that. Hopes and prayers were never answered when you ask for people to come back. Sometimes you just gotta step forward and do the work on your own. And sometimes that work is grisly.
Indeed, it is. And there was no attempts to try and cure her aside from these prayers and hopes of her affliction. As I fidget a little more.
Uh, Falcon leans back a little bit, having just taken a bite after he spoke. He chews slowly, and he's staring at you for a second. As he swallows, he says, "You seem keenly interested in the story."
I have had my dealings with werewolves before, and as you say, some are able to keep their minds and some aren't. And it would just be a shame if no one at least tried to rid her of something that probably wasn't hers by choice.
He was born with it. You're right. She didn't get a choice. It was gifted to her. I don't know how to cure. I'm not a cleric. I take no pride in having to kill somebody that I used to know. However, it had to be done, and if anybody was going to do it, it was going to be me. Know that I did the best I could with what I had, which is more than most people can say these days. Now, I'd appreciate it if we could find something else to talk about. I mounted her to remind myself of what can happen when you get too close to the magic.
Um, I do want to roll an insight check on that just to see how truthful and how much he might be trying to withhold if I get lucky enough to see it. 11.
You can tell that there's a story there,
Mm-hmm.
that maybe this person was closer than he's letting on. You can tell that there's also no small amount of hurt in your words towards him. Like he recognizes, like, yes, he probably could have done more, but he wouldn't have known how. And of that, he's being honest about.
Very well. To other happier conversations then. Did you hunt all this game yourself, as I point out at the spread, to move the conversation along?
You mean all the orcs? Yes. Uh,
I meant more what we're eating, but
I apologize. I misunderstood. Uh, he would not have misunderstood, though. It
okay.
says, yeah, if I didn't raise it, I hunted it. Like I said, the winters get lonely up here, so try to keep as much as I can in the pantry. But so I supplement a lot with game. So chances are, if you're eating it, I probably had a hand in making it, or at least bringing it to the table. Corwin does the best he can with the kills I bring in.
Well, my compliments to the hunter for finding it and the cook for preparing it.
Yep. Well, I appreciate it. Game's getting a little bit more scarce lately, though. I've seen a lot more orcs in the wood lately. Seem to be riding in with them half orcs.
We did encounter one on the way through to you. They were a cultist of some type, right?
Yeah,
As I kind of look at the others.
Cultist of Talos.
yeah, that tracks. They're usually walking around with these little stick creatures that are known to be around in these woods. I got a stone manse about 10 miles from here, but it's all old and decrepit. I don't hunt there because the magic hurts. But if you find yourself lost in the woods, come across a mansion, I'd probably stay away from it. This here and a few other of the logging camps are about the only safe places around, so.
Will do. Um, the best way to the logging camp that we're going to for uh Wester's brother, it's just to the west to follow the river, right?
Yes. Are you asking me or him?
Him
Oh,
specifically.
okay. Yeah, if you're looking for old Torben, you're gonna want to just follow this river west. Well, it'll head north pretty briefly, and as long as you stay on the river, it'll be impossible to miss his camp.
That's good. Has he? Do you talk to them often or no?
Not usually. Torben has a pretty good group of men with him, and they stay pretty busy trying to rebuild Neverwinter from the eruption of Mount Hot now. So
Gotcha. I was just curious if they had mentioned anything odd in the woods aside from everything that's already going on.
out in the woods, I would just look out for orcs. Honestly, Talos cultists have been pretty active of late too, so I know that they have got, like I said, that manch not too far from here, but should be the only things that you have to look out for.
Thank you. Good to know.
Yep. Does anybody have anything else they would like to talk about?
I think
Negatory.
Thorn would briefly ask um, if Falcon remembers which direction her parents were headed in after they had left here a few weeks ago. He's cussing me out over there under his breath.
Uh, well, they left pretty early before I could say goodbye to them. I chose to leave without saying goodbye, but I found tracks headed northeast into the Star Metal Hills, or at least in that direction. That seemed to be theirs. Pretty hard to miss a track like, I assume he's your father. But, Kuri, that was his name. Kuri.
Thorn nods a little bit and then shows him the symbol on her walk again. If you see anybody with this symbol on it, they're nice lizard folk. They'll barter with you. They're not they won't hurt you unless you hurt them. Then it's dance game over.
I appreciate the warning. I'll tell you that your mom and pop told me much the same. So, consider anybody with that symbol safe from me. as long as I'm safe from them. And tell them if they got coin to spend, there's a lodge up here, river with plenty of fish. I don't know what you all normally eat. I assume it's the same fare as us though, right?
Everything.
The stories ain't true, right? Lizard folk don't eat shit raw, right? That's not true.
Depends on what it is.
Okay.
Raw fish is actually pretty tasty.
Yep, on the leaner months, that's something I have to do pretty regularly. Anyway, it's getting late. Uh, Reginald, did you have something you wanted to say?
Nope.
Phenomenal. Uh, the Falcon kind of plants his hands on the table and pushes himself up, brushes off his belly from any crumbs. Well, it's late and got early morning hunting to do, so I'm gonna bid you all farewell and good luck tomorrow. Uh, Tomorrow when you wake up, I'll have Corwin cook you some breakfast. You're my guests, so at no charge. I appreciate the company and I appreciate the wine. And good luck on your trip to the logging camp. Give Torben my regards.
Will do.
Absolutely.
And with that, he sees himself out. You all are free to either explore this tiny camp or go to bed.
Neither
think
of you.
Lionel-
I feel like Reginald obviously doesn't really see anything out of line or alignment or anything odd about it, so he's probably just going to retire to the guest room.
Very well.
I think Lionel will just go outside for a little bit and maybe explore a little bit of the grounds fenced in, but not really go anywhere, and then head back to the guest lodgings as well. But just take a little bit of time to walk around and get some air, so to speak. He's not going to do any major exploring. He's still tired. Now he's just more emotionally drained too, because fuck this.
All right. I can give you a quick rundown.
Sure.
So that ping is the guest house. It contains uh, 5 bunk beds that
Hmm.
can house comfortably 10 people in that small space. Outside of that, you've got this northern yard here. Um, this little box up here is just an outhouse. You all came from the dining room. It's a 2-story building that is attached to the main building that you suspect Falcon actually resides in. As you round the buildings, you come down to the south yard. You've got a smithy. That's a stone building
Hmm.
that's attached to a storage room and a stable. Inside the stable is a very well groomed and well maintained horse, chestnut in color. And then this area is the pens where he holds his livestock. He's got 1 cow, 3 goats, 2 dozen chickens, and a rooster.
Ah, nice. Damn, if I wasn't exhausted, I would have explored the smithy more, but no. The one thing I would be really keen on, it's like, nope, exhausted. No.
And just to cover all my bases, this stone building in the center here is the kitchen.
Hmm.
That stone or the wooden building attaching to it is just the pantry. It's a acts as a sort of thoroughfare for the dining
Yep.
room and the kitchen.
Gotcha. Nice. Thank you.
Alrighty. Uh, is that all you do? You go to bed after that?
I go into the guest house and I'm up for a little bit, but it's not like I start really any conversations with anyone.
Very well.
If people need to poke me, they can poke me, but
Thor?
Thorn does not. Thorn goes back to the bunkhouse and just kind of waits. I think she like curls up in one of the tall beds, like the top bunk. Uh, and I think she waits for Lionel to get back. She like has some idle banter going on with Reginald for a little bit, and it's just like, annoying kid banter. Like, I probably could have killed more orcs than that. And then she goes quiet for a little bit, and she like curls up in the top bunk, and she'll wait for Lionel to get back. And I think that if you'll give me a little bit of creative freedom here, Colt,
hmm
I think if Lionel ends up in the bunk under her, she'll wait a couple of minutes and realize that he's staying up and he's not actually trying to go to sleep, and she just like peers over the edge at him. And you just hear like the little like scraping of claws as she tries to like stay in the bed and not tumble out.
I think what happens is Lionel kind of gets in and flops on the bed because he's exhausted, but it's obvious he's not sleeping in that position because it's completely uncomfortable. And when he hears that, he kind of just says, kind of muffled halfway through, like, "What do you want, Thorn?" As he kind of tilts his head to look up towards you.
If it's dark in here, you just see Thorn's eyes, just
Oh,
peering over.
oh, okay, we're doing that. Ugh, god damn.
Why were you so uncomfortable at dinner? Do you not like fish?
No, it's not the fish.
It's really good. It's got a lot of oil. Good for your skin.
Yes, it's good for my skin, also technically good for your scales and also hair or fur. But no, that wasn't why I was uncomfortable. Um, it has to do with the trophy, or I guess reminder as he put it, on the entryway into the kitchen.
Was it someone you knew?
No, it was not, but it was a werewolf, and um, all people that are like me, and I will kind of just quickly kind of look back and forth to make sure we're the only ones in the room, even though it's dark. And I know Thorn can see in the dark, so I will use one of my shifting abilities to kind of shift into my shifter form.
Your natural form.
My more natural, I guess, form, my Theranthrope form ish. All of us are like this. And I'll kind of shift back, and we all descend from lycanthropes, purebred ones. And I just happen to be a odd mix of a hyena and a descent of werewolf. So it was a little weird to see an ancestor kind of just bolted onto the wall.
Don't understand. Are you okay?
I will be fine. I poked and prodded him to see if what he truly expressed was guilt or remorse at what he had done. And it seemed like the person that he unfortunately had to kill was someone he cared for. And he is right. Not all of us, not all of the ancestors that we are, not all of Theranthrope's ancestors are able to maintain the balance that is needed, and some fall to their affliction and need to be dealt with. But it is much like what you experienced earlier with Rivas and them. When people find out you are very different from what they consider normal, they can often treat you like shit.
Uh, Thorn's eyes just go to slits. It's very much like an immediate kind of cat reflex. And she looks away a little bit, and it's kind of a gesture of like, I don't really want to talk about this. Time to divert. Do you want me to go steal it for you?
No, gods, no. Why would you think that? No,
I can go get it.
no, absolutely not. No,
You can bury it
no,
or burn it.
no. Thorn, it's fine. I'll be all right. I've dealt with worse.
Okay. I think she's quiet for a minute. And like you don't see her eyes for a second as she like turns away, and she's like looking over in Reginald's direction, and she turns back and she like scrabbles down so that she's like literally like hanging off like a bat of this bunk bed, and she like leans into Lionel. They called him sire earlier. Do you think he's a prince?
Jesus fucking Christ. You need to stop that. You remind me too much of China right at the moment. Holy fuck. In terms of Reginald, no, he's not a prince. He's just the heir to a very powerful household.
I don't know. I think he's kind of a prince, but he's also kind of a nerd.
Yes, I know. That's why I like him. Because he's kind of a nerd. Because I'm kind of a nerd.
Yeah, because he's kind of like a nerd prince. Yeah.
I don't think he's a prince.
I think he's a prince. Thorn thinks
No.
he's a prince.
He is a scion of a very powerful household that deals with monster hunters.
Okay, Thorn thinks you're wrong, though. Good night.
No.
And she just, like, scrabbles back up and she curls up in a little ball and just goes to sleep. She conks out.
Lionel is just exasperated. Physical actions of Tina, mental capabilities of Austrian. God damn it. She is a handful.
Thorn's amazing.
An amazing handful.
The best ever lizard folk.
Yes.
The greatest lizard folk of all time.
I think Lionel kind of pivots his head back to being like on his pillow with his mouth down there, and he just says loudly, "Did you want to add anything, Reginald?"
No. I'm just glad we're done prattling on about my bloodline. I don't have any royalty or any fanciness about it. It's simply who I am.
You're such a fucking liar.
Lionel and Reginald have spoken about this on the road before, so Lionel just like gives him a thumbs up from the bed. It's like, cool. It's done. He needs to sleep.
If there's a lull, if there's like a silence after everyone's like calming down, just before she finally conks out, Thorn just kind of like calls out into the quiet, dark room. Fuck!
I don't think that came through. Could you say it again?
It didn't.
Fuck!
Yes. Yes, good night, Thorn.
And we go to bed.
All right. Are all narrations done for the evening? Reginald, did you have anything to add?
Nope.
What word are you gonna contribute to Thorn's lexicon?
Just you
That's-
wait.
Acidulous.
That's your homework assignment. I taught her
So-
fuck, apparently.
So our trio finally manages to find the peace of rest in a relatively comfortable abode, vice the roughing it they were planning. Uh, Lionel's out like well, like a rock, really.
Yep.
Just down for the count. That exhaustion. You can remove the exhaustion, by the way. I've gotten my fair amount of rolls out of you from with it.
Excellent.
Um, your dreams are non-existent tonight. You are too tired to dream. Uh, Thorn, as you curl up, you're missing the familiar presence of Meat Dog, whom you left behind with Howlin' Stonehill
Me dog.
to be safe. But you manage to find rest, and your dreams kind of run wild. What does a kobold, I'm sorry, lizard folk dream of?
Thorn dreams about meat.
Eating meat around a fire back at home with probably in the lap of two big thighs with four arms and reaching around you for heaps and piles of meat, and sitting next to you is a very lithe and strong lizard folk with green and white scales and two giant eyes that look down at you with, well, with lizardly affection. And I think being in a place that, your parents were in recently kind of sets your mind of home, of them. You have pleasant dreams of them. And maybe for the first time since you left, you feel like you're connected with them ever so slightly. And then there's Reginald. Elves don't really sleep, do they, Reginald?
Nope.
Kind of go into this meditative state where their body relaxes and rests, but their mind is free to wander. And I'll say that yours wanders over the events of the day, traveling, meeting those two elves, Ravis of the Night Fangs, and learning about their opinions of you and your father. And that alarm that you've been quelling so well rises in your chest as you attempt to rest, and it doesn't necessarily stop you from resting, but your rest is fitful. Your waking dreams flitting back and forth to the blades on their backs, and you're wondering if there's a blade at yours. Suddenly unsure of, well, possibly unsure of your place. I don't want to tell you what your character's feeling. But thoughts of that pervade your dreams that night, and I'll say what you wake to is the sound of your father's voice, reassuring you that it's all going to be okay. And as night leads into morning and those first rays manage to shine over the world, you hear the waking world before you see it. There's no windows in this cabin, but the morning birds are alive, the rooster crows, and we are welcomed to a new day. Unfortunately, this day will have to begin next session.
Long rest, baby.
Please do hit that long rest button.
Done. Level exhaustion gone.
My spells.
My HP. What do you mean?
Yeah. Yeah, you got chunked a little bit.
Little bit,
That was
just a
like
little.
half. That was like half my HP. A little less than half. It was 13 points, I think, and I have 28.
Yeah.
So.
I rolled my D8, and the first number that I got was an 8. I'm sorry, my D6, and it was a 6, and I was just like, I don't want to roll this fucking however many more fucking times and kill my wife again. That's why I was like, how do you roll digital dice?
Mhm, mhm.
Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the stream. Thanks for anybody
Okay, bye.
watching. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, V.